Have you ever felt like nobody truly listens to you? That no matter how much you speak, explain, or pour your heart out, your words just seem to vanish into thin air? That feeling is lonely, almost suffocating, and it often makes us believe that no one really cares about what we feel. But let me tell you something you might not have realized yet. True love doesn't need to understand everything to be profound. It doesn't need to decode every thought, every silence, every pain we carry. What truly matters is presence, attention, and above all, the ability to listen with the heart. We often confuse listening with responding. We think loving is correcting, advising, or offering solutions. But the love that truly transforms, that endures, that heals, doesn't act that way. It stays by your side even when it doesn't understand all your reasons. It accepts the way you feel, your doubts, your fears, and it doesn't demand detailed explanations. Someone who truly loves you isn't concerned with fixing you. They are concerned with being present. And that silent, constant presence is often more powerful than any words. Listening is not just about perceiving sounds. Listening is noticing what isn't said, sensing the silence that screams, the hesitation that hides deep emotions. It's recognizing pain that doesn't belong to us and still responding with care and respect. Few people can do this. Few people can remain beside someone without trying to change them, without trying to fix them, simply matching the rhythm of the other person's soul. That is true love, attention without judgment, presence without conditions, empathy without obligation, and even when the mind tries to understand and fails, the heart feels. It senses the value of silent listening. It understands that sometimes there are no answers, that some wounds cannot be healed with explanations but with acceptance and time. That is why learning to listen, and above all, allowing yourself to be heard, is one of the greatest forms of love we can experience. Have you noticed how the rush of the modern world pulls us away from this deep listening? Everything needs to be fast, explained, resolved. But true love does not follow that logic. It follows a different rule, the rhythm of the heart. Love that listens is patient. It doesn't pressure, it doesn't demand, it doesn't rush. It chooses to feel alongside, to stay, to accept the other's complexity. And that is what differentiates a healthy relationship from a superficial or toxic bond. The ability to be present without needing to control or understand every detail. Listening deeply requires courage. Courage to open space in your heart for the other person, even when you don't fully understand what they feel. Courage to remain in the face of pain that isn't yours but affects you because you love the one who feels it. Listening is choosing to stay, even in the unknown, even without answers. It's understanding that often the simple act of being present is enough. And this is where many people get lost, because most of us look to understand before we accept. We want answers, solutions, certainty, but life, feelings, and relationships don't always provide that. And those who wait for total understanding before they love end up living alone, isolated in their desire for emotional perfection. Love that lasts, love that transforms, doesn't demand total understanding. It demands empathy, patience, and genuine presence. During a relationship, especially in difficult moments, this silent listening becomes even more crucial. It is when we are vulnerable, confused, insecure, that we need someone to accompany us without judgment, someone who listens without interrupting, without minimizing, without immediately trying to fix things. And this is exactly where the midway attention call comes in. Analyze your relationships right now. Ask yourself, who is willing to stay with me even when they don't understand everything? Who cares enough to remain even in my confusion and pain? Because those who do not listen with their hearts, who do not remain in silent presence, are not ready for a healthy and true love. Recognizing this is vital so you don't waste time in superficial connections. Love that listens also teaches us about boundaries. It shows us that it's possible to love without losing ourselves, to be present without sacrificing ourselves, to care without suffocating. This kind of love creates space for individual and collective growth. It is not possessive. It does not control. It is not toxic. It simply matches the rhythm of the soul, respecting time, space, and the essence of the one you love. And you need to understand that loving this way is not easy. It requires practice, dedication, patience, and above all, courage. Courage to expose yourself, courage to stay even when you don't fully understand, courage to trust that the other person will do the same. But those who choose to love this way discover something incredible. Relationships become lighter, deeper, and more authentic. They stop being a source of constant pain and become spaces for growth, learning, and genuine connection. Listening with the heart also teaches us about vulnerability. It is in vulnerability that love blossoms. When we allow the other person to see our wounds, weaknesses, and doubts, the relationship strengthens. Those who fear opening up, showing their true selves, will never experience the depth of this love. But those who allow themselves to be seen and heard, even without total understanding, find the true essence of human connection. And this kind of listening is not limited to romantic partners. It applies to friends, family, colleagues, anyone in our lives. Because love that listens is universal. It transcends romantic relationships and touches all connections that truly matter. It transforms the environment, generates emotional safety, strengthens bonds, and awakens gratitude in those who feel truly heard. It's important to add that love that listens also manifests in the small everyday details. A surprise message asking how you are, a silent gesture to accompany you, a look that conveys understanding when words fail. These everyday actions, simple but profound, are proof that someone truly listens and cares about your well-being. Because love is not just grand words or dramatic gestures. It is being present in the everyday, in the simple, in what cannot be seen but can be felt. Patience is another lesson we learn from love that listens. Understanding another person takes time, empathy, and dedication. It's not about responding quickly or always having the solution. It's about preserving the connection, walking together, accompanying without rushing. This patience strengthens any bond. It turns fragile relationships into solid ones, superficial ones into deep, temporary ones into lasting. And even when love seems to fail, when frustration, misunderstanding, or anger arise, those who truly love continue to listen. They do not abandon at the first difficulty. They understand that loving is walking together, even on hard days, even without understanding all the reasons, even without clear answers. And this is what makes the difference between fleeting relationships and life-changing ones. Now pay attention. If you wait for someone to fully understand you before feeling loved, you are placing an impossible weight on their shoulders. No one can decode all of another person's thoughts and emotions. Trying to do so, even with love, only leads to frustration, unmet expectations, and suffering. True love is based on presence, attention, and active listening, not full comprehension. Listening with the heart also requires letting go of ego. We must give up the need to always be right, to be understood, to validate our own ideas before considering the other. Deep listening is an act of humility, generosity, and courage. And this is what transforms the simple act of hearing into something powerful, healing, and transformative. Those who love you, even without understanding everything, teach you patience, respect, and empathy. They show that true love does not demand perfection, that it doesn't pressure, that it doesn't suffocate. It allows you to be who you are with all your flaws, doubts, and fears, and still chooses to walk beside you. This conscious choice, repeated day after day, keeps the bond alive, strong, and healthy. Reflect. Are you offering that kind of listening to those you love? Are you present with attention, patience, and an open heart? Are you willing to stay, even without fully understanding? Because true love begins with this willingness. It begins with listening, presence, and empathy. It begins with the courage to feel alongside, even in the face of the unknown, pain, and confusion. Love that listens transforms lives. It heals invisible wounds, creates lasting bonds, and builds strong, healthy, and happy relationships. Those who learn to love this way, who learn to listen with an open heart, discover that there is nothing more powerful, deeper, or truer. And now, in the final stretch, the second call to attention: value those who remain. Value those who listen without demanding full understanding. Value those who accept you, respect you, and walk with you. These people are rare, and the love they offer is even rarer. And if you haven't found someone like this yet, start within yourself. Start by listening to yourself, giving yourself presence, patience, and love. Because the first step to receiving this kind of love is being able to give it, starting with yourself. Those who love you, even without understanding everything, show the greatest form of love that exists. One that remains, accepts, respects, and grows together. And when you learn to recognize it, value it, offer it, and receive it, you discover that true love is not a distant or idealized concept. It is real, tangible, and deeply transformative. Remember always, love that listens is rare, powerful, and essential. Be attentive, present, and willing to feel alongside. Because those who listen with an open heart learn to love truly. And true love, the kind that transforms lives, begins with silent listening, constant presence, and deep respect.